Welcome to this special Christmas episode of True Terror Tales. In this festive yet chilling episode, you'll encounter 3 bone-chilling Christmas stories. 2 of these tales are the product of a dark imagination, while one is rooted in the terrifying truth of the holiday season. Christmas is a time of joy, light, and magic, but sometimes hidden behind the twinkling lights and festive cheer is a dark reality. In this special Christmas edition, you'll discover which of these stories are real and which are simply nightmares waiting to be told. Get ready to experience a Christmas like no other as you listen to stories about a Santa who doesn't bring joy, a cursed gift that drives people to madness, and the dark secrets behind a seemingly peaceful family gathering. By the end of this video, you'll know which story comes from the bitter truth, but can you guess which one is real and which one is just a nightmare? Stay tuned and keep watching until the end. The real horror is waiting for you. It was Christmas Eve when the Miller family gathered in their cozy mountain cabin nestled in the snowy hills. The children, Emily and Jack, were excited, eagerly awaiting the moment when they could finally open their presents. But this Christmas was different. There was one gift they hadn't expected, an ominous gift that neither of them had ordered nor anticipated. The white envelope, adorned with silver stars, had no return address. The children found it near the fireplace, sitting alone on the mantelpiece on the evening of December 24th. It was the only gift under the tree that wasn't tagged with a name. Curious yet slightly uneasy, they opened it. Inside was an old dusty music box. The melody it played was beautiful yet unsettling. It sounded like a haunting blend of a Christmas carol mixed with something darker, something that sent a chill through the air. Over the next few days, strange things began to happen. The children would hear the haunting tune of the music box echoing through the house, even though it had been put away hours before. Then, they began seeing figures moving in the shadows. Figures that shouldn't have been there. The first night it happened, they brushed it off as their imagination playing tricks in the dim light of the cabin. But the visions grew more vivid and frequent. One night, Emily saw a tall figure standing in the hallway, its face hidden beneath a dark hood, its arms stretched out toward her. The figure didn't speak but only stared, its eyes glowing with an unnatural intensity. Emily screamed, waking her parents, but when they arrived, there was no sign of anyone in the hall. The family tried to rationalize what was happening, blaming it on the stress of the holiday season, and perhaps the isolation of the mountain cabin. But the odd occurrences kept escalating. Jack found a piece of paper one morning tucked under his pillow. It was a drawing of a figure in a hooded cloak, and beneath it was a phrase, "The gift will come for you all." Terrified, the Millers decided to leave the cabin and return home, but as they tried to pack up their things, they found that the music box had reappeared in their bags, even though they were certain they had left it on the mantelpiece. The tune began playing again, this time louder and faster, filling the cabin with an eerie, almost hypnotic rhythm. As the Millers fled, they noticed something even stranger. There were footsteps in the snow around the cabin, but they weren't the family's. The footprints were fresh, as though someone had been following them, moving around the house in the dead of night. By the time they reached safety, they never spoke of the events again, but the memory of the strange gift and its ominous tune haunted them. The music box was never seen again, but the Millers would forever wonder, had they invited something sinister into their home that Christmas? It was a Christmas Eve like no other when a small town in the Midwest was thrown into chaos. The Stevens family, like many others, had gathered around their hearth to celebrate the holiday. The house was filled with laughter, the smell of roast turkey, and the joy of children playing in the snow outside. But as the clock struck midnight, something terrible happened. At precisely midnight the phone rang. It was a call that would change the course of the holiday season for the Stevens family. The voice on the other end was soft, almost childlike, but there was a chilling undertone to it. The caller claimed to be watching the family, and with each passing minute, he would be getting closer. At first the family thought it was just a prank, a twisted joke to ruin their holiday cheer, but the call became more and more disturbing. The man on the other end began describing, in precise detail, the layout of their house, the rooms, the windows, even the presents under the tree. He told them that he was inside, watching them, and that one by one, he would pick them off. Terrified, the Stevens family tried to call the police, but the line went dead before they could explain the situation. The children, now crying and frightened, clung to their parents as they barricaded themselves in the living room. But as the minutes passed, they heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching their door. The father, Michael, grabbed a gun and stood watch by the door, waiting for any sign of movement. His wife, Linda, held the children close, trying to comfort them, but fear gripped her heart. Was it too late? Had the caller already made good on his promise? Suddenly, the door crashed open, and a man in a Santa Claus outfit stood there, grinning. But this wasn't the jolly old Santa they'd expected. His eyes were hollow, his smile twisted into something more sinister. Without saying a word, he stepped into the room, his heavy boots thudding against the floor with every step. Michael tried to confront the man, but before he could react, the man lunged at him with a knife. The room erupted into chaos, the family screaming in terror as they fought for their lives. The killer moved swiftly as if he had done this before, methodically choosing his targets and striking with brutal precision. But just as the killer was about to finish them off, the door to the cabin burst open, and the sound of police sirens filled the air. The killer froze, then bolted, vanishing into the night before anyone could stop him. When the authorities arrived, they found no sign of the man, not even footprints in the snow outside. The Stevens family was left in shock, unsure if what they'd experienced was real or some twisted Christmas nightmare. They never found the man, and the mystery of that night still haunts them to this day. Was it a bizarre prank, or had they narrowly escaped the clutches of a deranged killer? It was Christmas Eve, and the Johnson family was preparing for their annual Christmas dinner. The house, nestled in the small town of Maple Street, had the typical cozy charm of the holiday season. Bright, twinkling lights hung from the windows, the smell of roasted chestnuts filled the air, and a decorated tree stood proudly in the corner of the living room. It was supposed to be a joyful night of family, laughter, and presents. But as night fell, and the family gathered around the fireplace, something began to feel off. It wasn't the usual hustle and bustle of Christmas Eve. There was a strange chill in the air that no one could quite explain, and the usual warmth of the room felt strangely absent. The first sign something was wrong came when the Johnsons heard the doorbell ring. It was close to midnight and no one was expecting visitors. The father, Samuel, answered the door, expecting a caroler or perhaps a neighbor with a Christmas greeting. But instead, there was no one there, just a small wrapped gift left on the doorstep, accompanied by a single white card with one word written on it: alone. Samuel assumed it was a prank, something meant to creep out the family. He brought the package inside where it sat on the dining table, untouched. The gift was beautifully wrapped, decorated with a ribbon that shined in the firelight, but it felt wrong. The family tried to brush it off, continuing their meal, but the strange presence in the house persisted. Samuel made a note to himself to check the gift after dinner. As they sat down to eat, the atmosphere grew more oppressive. The children, Lily and Ben, were unusually quiet, staring at the unwrapped gift, eyes wide and anxious. Something was unsettling about it. The house creaked and groaned as if the very walls were alive, watching. No one spoke of it, but everyone felt it. The quiet, pervasive sense that something was about to happen. Later that evening, as they sat by the tree, another knock at the door startled them. Samuel opened it once again, expecting to find someone playing a prank on them, but there was no one there, only another gift, wrapped in red paper, sitting on the front step. The card read, "Waiting." Confused and unsettled, Samuel brought the gift inside and laid it next to the first one. What was happening? Who was sending these gifts? As the night wore on, things only grew stranger. Around 3 a.m., the power flickered and the house was plunged into darkness. The fireplace flickered out, and the only light in the room came from the dim glow of the Christmas tree. It was then that the family heard it, the sound of footsteps, slow and deliberate, echoing from upstairs. Samuel rushed to investigate, but there was no one there. Only silence. He checked the children's rooms, his wife's, but all was quiet. Then as he turned to head back downstairs, a voice, a soft, whispering voice, came from the darkness. "You should have opened it." Suddenly the house was plunged into complete darkness. Samuel could hear the faint creaking of floorboards from above. His heart raced as he rushed to the stairs, but as he reached the top, he saw something that froze him in his tracks. A figure standing in the dark hallway, holding yet another gift. The figure was blurry, indistinct, but Samuel could feel its eyes on him. And in that moment, he knew that whatever this was, it was not human. With terror rising in his chest, Samuel grabbed the first gift and tore it open. Inside was a small porcelain doll, an exact replica of Lily. But the doll had a cracked smile, its eyes blackened and hollow. The figure in the hallway vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Samuel ran to his wife and children, but by the time he reached them, everything in the house had returned to normal. The gifts were gone, and the haunting presence seemed to have faded. But the Johnson family would never forget that Christmas Eve, the night when their holiday cheer turned into something far darker. Years later, no one would ever explain what had happened that night, but the legend of the Christmas ghost of Maple Street lives on, with whispers of strange gifts arriving on doorsteps every Christmas Eve. So, there you have it, the real story behind these Christmas horrors. The first two, The Gift of Doom and The Christmas Killer, were purely fictional, designed to make your spine tingle during this festive season. But the third story, The Christmas Ghost of Maple Street, is based on true events that still haunt the town of Maple Street today. We hope this special Christmas episode has kept you on the edge of your seat. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, there are stories out there that might just make you reconsider. Stay safe this holiday season, and remember, not all gifts bring joy, and not every Christmas is filled with warmth. Thank you for watching True Terror Tales. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more spine-chilling true stories, and we'll see you in the next episode.